It doesn't matter how qualified you are, how well your interview went, or what it is you specifically do. If you do not get this question right when you interview with Apple, you will not get the job. So it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter the role you were interviewing for, whether that's a software engineer or you're an in-store specialist, genius bar, marketing, recruiter. It doesn't matter. And every single one of those interviews, they're going to ask you the following interview question, and the expectation is you crush it. That question is, why Apple? And it's probably the most important interview question you're going to get asked when you're interviewing with Apple. Now, I have done a few different how to land a job with Apple videos. And in all of those, in the full guides where I talk about the values and questions you might answer and the process, one thing has consistently happened. People have gone into the comments and they've said to me, Ben, thank you for that why Apple prep, because that was a key. So time and time again, people are going back and they're saying this was asked. In every single type of role, people are watching it, they're getting that answer, and they're doing well because they are prepared to answer it. But in my previous videos, I've only talked about the theory. I've talked about the questions and saying, hey, this is how you could probably go about doing that. But today I'm doing something different. I am going to answer it for you. I am actually going to give you 4 sample answers, and all 4 of these will help you absolutely crush it. So stay around to the end, because by the end of this video, you're not just gonna have 1, 2, or 3, you're gonna have 4 great ways to answer the most important interview question you will get asked as a potential Apple employee. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the 50-50 rule, because it is incredibly important. The 50-50 rule is a rule that I made up, but I specifically made it up when you're answering interview questions like this. So anytime a company says to you, why Apple, or why Tesla, or why GM, why any company for that matter, it needs to be 50% about the company. So it can be a variety of things that are tied with the company. The other 50%, it has to be about the role specifically. And if you can do those 2 things effectively, you will absolutely crush this interview question. Now I'm going to jump into some specific examples that you can use during your interview. The first example I'm going to use is the product answer. So this is an answer in which you talk in the first half about the products and how you believe in them. And then the second half, you're gonna be talking about the specific role. Now in this example, I'm going to pretend like I am applying for a recruiting manager role because that is what I do. But whatever the role it is that you're going to be applying and interviewing for, just make sure you specifically talk about that role. I would pick a few of the top bullet points in terms of job responsibility and speak to those, because those are prominent activities or responsibilities you're going to have in the role. But the first answer, let's talk about the products. So I want to work at Apple for a few reasons, but one of the things that has really inspired me to pursue this opportunity is I am passionate about the products. I have been using Apple products for years. I have had 3 or 4 iPhones over the course of my life. I also love the Apple Watch, and I love the way they seamlessly work together. So working for a company where I am passionate about the products and the way they seamlessly work together, to me, is something that I would love to do. It's great to know that you can stand behind the products that you're working towards creating. Now, as a recruiting manager, I would feel a lot of responsibility because I know that I am directly impacting those products. I am going out and I am finding those people. I am working with my recruiters to help them be as effective as possible and bringing people in. So for right now, at this stage in my career, I would love the opportunity to work for a company I am passionate about and move into a role that is perfect for my skills and education, and this role specifically is in perfect alignment. So what I did there was I talked about the foundation of why. The products, I stand behind them, I'm passionate about them, and I'd love to represent them in the capacity that I'm interviewing for. And then I talked a little bit about the role, albeit at a very high level, talking about how this is good, it's a good fit for me, I would be contributing to those products, and for right now, for this stage of my career, it is an excellent fit. That's example 1. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you example 2, and I'm going to specifically be talking about innovation. So Apple being an incredibly innovative company, this is an easy one, this is low-hanging fruit, but I'll be doing this one as if I'm a software developer. Well, I would love the idea of working at Apple, and for a few reasons. So first and foremost, Apple to me has always been one of the most innovative companies around. So as I was going through, as I was getting my degree, it was a company I kept an eye on. I've always been really interested about what you were doing, what you were coming out with, and the quality of the software development. Now for me, I would love the opportunity to contribute to that. Like I said, when I was getting my degree, I was always kind of paying attention to Apple and what Apple was doing and the quality of the products that they were releasing. This role specifically is in perfect alignment with what I've gone to school for and what I got my internship in. A lot of the same coding languages, a lot of the same guidelines, say something better than that. But it's in perfect alignment with what I'd like to be doing in my career. So having the opportunity to not only use the technology I have been going to school for, but do it for a company like Apple, which is so innovative and is always at the bleeding edge of technology, would be amazing. That is why I'm so interested in working at Apple. So there you go. I am not a software engineer. So some of that middle part about why this specific job could be good for you, you can probably do that a little bit better. But what I did was I talked about how innovative the company was and how I've been watching them for a while. Then I talked about how the role was great for me and it was in strong alignment to the technology I was specifically going to school for. And then I finally wrapped up with saying working with a company on the bleeding edge of technology would be perfect and would be motivating, and that's why I'm interested in Apple. Now the next one is values. This is another really good one because when you are interviewing with Apple, you're not typically going to be differentiating yourself with your education, experience, and skills, because everybody who is interviewing with Apple is smart, skilled, highly educated. That's almost a wash. So one of the ways that you can differentiate yourself is on values. So they've got a handful of values. They've got accessibility, education, environment, inclusion and diversity, privacy, racial equity, justice, and supplier relations. You can find that on their website. But here's my advice. When they ask you why Apple, pick out one of these values that means a lot to you and answer it like that. So why Apple? Well, I'm interested in Apple for a variety of reasons. This position I feel is a really good fit for me, but there are a lot of roles out there in the market that I feel are a great fit. But what I can't find everywhere is a strong value alignment I would feel with Apple. One of the things I found inspiring when I was doing my research on Apple was their commitment to inclusion and diversity. I feel like there's not enough of that in tech. So finding an organization that not only stands behind that, but puts that front and center on their webpage as one of their values really speaks to me. So again, this role is perfect for me. This is what I've been working to in my career for the last 4 or 5 years, and I feel I would be incredibly effective at it. But specifically doing it for Apple that really values inclusion and diversity, I would be extremely motivated to take this role. So what I did there again was I spoke to how good of a fit the role is, how I've been working towards that in my career, and then I talked about inclusion and diversity, specifically in tech, because I don't know if they do a great job of that yet. I know there are a lot of companies working towards that, but specifically highlighting their value lets them know a few things. 1, you're in value alignment. 2, you did the necessary research to come in and be prepared, not just to do this job, but to do this job for Apple and why you are a fit from a values perspective. That's a really great way to answer this question. Now, the last example I'm going to do here is if you are working in store, because working in store, they're still going to ask you this question. They're going to ask you this question no matter what. But let's say you're working in store. We're going to do 2 things here. We're going to talk about the company, specifically the products, because it will, I think it goes hand in hand to the second half of this answer, which is helping people, right? Because you're going to be in store, some of the things they value is people with personality, people who are well-informed, and people who are approachable. You need to remember that if you are interviewing in store with Apple. But let's jump into this example here. Why Apple? Well, I'm interested in Apple for a few reasons, but for me, I have always been a massive fan of the products. I happen to love my iPad, and I have a MacBook Pro. In addition to that, I also have an Apple Watch and an iPhone, so I feel like for some time, I've been a brand advocate. So getting the opportunity to do this for a living and to actually serve Apple in the way I feel that Apple's products have served me would be incredibly rewarding. In addition to that, I have always been a real service-oriented person who's customer-facing. It really invigorates me to help people with their problems. So just from a role perspective, for what I would be doing on a day-to-day basis, I would find this to be incredibly motivating, to solve problems for people, to have people come to me and not really know what they need, but for me, the expert, to be able to guide them and help them find the product that is best for them. I would find that to be incredibly rewarding. And there you go. What I did there was I talked about how you love the products, and see how I specifically said you had several of them? If you do, don't say that unless you do, but if you do have several of them, speaking to how you have actually gone out and you've purchased and you believe in these products and you stand behind these products, that's going to position you well. And then talking about how you are motivated by the specific task you are going to be doing in the job and how that would invigorate you, give you energy, and you talked about both solving problems and helping people identify the right products for them, which are basically like two of the main things you might be doing in store. That is a solid way to answer this question. So there you have it. That's why Apple. Any 4 of these will probably absolutely crush it and serve as a massive differentiator, especially if you're in store. If you're in store and you're doing one of those group interview sessions and they ask everybody why Apple, and everybody else has a run-of-the-mill answer, but you come out with one of these, quite frankly, you can use the last one, but any of the other ones would probably suffice here too. It's going to be a great way for you to just separate yourself from the pack and absolutely crush this interview question. And again, if you can answer any of these questions with like an A+ answer, this is the one to do it. Good luck in your interview. You got this.